Hi, my name is Abby, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Nadia Comaneci, and she was the Olympic gymnast in 1976 in the Olympics who was the first to score perfect 10, the coveted perfect score that seemed extremely unattainable to gymnasts all around the world. Not only was she the first female to score this, but she was the first gymnast ever in the history of gymnastics in the Olympics to score a perfect 10. What made her great was because she was 14 years old when she did this, so extremely young, which is an amazing thing for an athlete to be able to not only just go to the Olympics at 14, but to score such a great score and really set the role and set the standard for young athletes everywhere. She kind of paved the way and showed the world that young athletes can be just as successful as older athletes, even if they don't have the same experience. They can still work as hard and do just as well as any other athlete can. She also kind of paved the way for women in sports. Oftentimes women aren't taken as seriously in this sports industry, and with media especially, they aren't covered as much. There's a lot of times where we'll see football and we'll see baseball and we'll see men's basketball a lot on TV, and you just don't see the same kind of coverage with women's sports. I've heard conversations where people say women's basketball isn't as fun or isn't as great to watch as men's basketball, and sometimes that's just a matter of opinion, but it's just not covered as much, and we don't see it. When you turn on ESPN, you see football or you see baseball right away. You don't really see volleyball or softball or any other women's sports as much. It just doesn't get the same kind of coverage. And there's just that kind of segregation in between the sporting industry where women's sports aren't as highly coveted as men's sports. Women aren't seen as bigger competitors, and women aren't seen as being able to know as much about sports or be as knowledgeable about sports as men are. And I think oftentimes that's false. Not only because women don't know as much about sports, which they do, but sometimes women aren't exposed as early on to sports because of that idea that people already have in their mind that women don't have the interest in sports. Oftentimes, so when we aren't exposed to them at a younger age, we don't have the opportunities to grow up in the sporting world, and it seemed kind of like a boys' club where women are just pushed to the side and are almost excluded from knowing or having the opportunity to be embraced in that sporting community. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that women are definitely becoming more knowledgeable and definitely being more accepted into the boys' club in sporting industries as well. Women like Nadia have made extremely huge names for themselves, and we often see Venus and Serena Williams. They're extremely big people in sports, and I think that we're kind of coming out of the segregation a little bit and kind of becoming more equal. But it all has to do with media and the exposure that the media gives women in sports. I think that we're definitely making progress, and there's still more progress to come, but I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. And so hopefully we see more women in sports and on ESPN. When we turn on ESPN, maybe someday in the future we'll see equal coverage of both. Thank you.